Hi there. I just wanted to explain a really important thing around psychological shock. I'm really aware that whilst the pandemic hasn't been awful for a small collective of people, for many people they've had to really survive something that maybe felt completely unsurvivable. I'm thinking particularly of people that have sort of been locked into situations of continual shielding or continual having to work as a nurse or a doctor in an A&E ward or in a COVID ward, or as a teacher who has lost all the margin of your life because you've had to work in a hybrid way on your laptop at the same time as sometimes in a classroom, at the same time as looking after your kids. There's been so much survival, as if you're a preschool mum or parent, that actually not being able to go and sit on the sofa of somebody else and let your kids play, which was certainly my sanity when my kids were small, has meant that for some people they've adopted a survival mentality. And that means that when we're in a survival mentality, we stop feeling, or we stop feeling even some of our bodily symptoms so much, because when you feel them you can go into overwhelm. So to stop overwhelm, we stop feeling. That's a great coping strategy in the short term, but in the long term, of course, that becomes problematic. What I'm flagging up at the moment is, as the summer is beginning to be kind of closer, as people are beginning to think maybe there's an end in sight, as people are beginning to see numbers drop of COVID around them, as schools are beginning to go back, what can happen is suddenly, and it can come suddenly, the adults can suddenly go, oh, what is that I'm feeling? And it can be body pains. Maybe you suddenly feel absolutely wiped with exhaustion. And you think, well, I haven't done that badly through this, but you're wiped with exhaustion. Maybe you're showing bodily symptoms like you're a little bit dizzy, you're a little bit short of breath, maybe you've got tummy aches, maybe you just feel nauseous all the time. Maybe just first thing in the morning you feel nauseous. There's all sorts of bodily symptoms where the body's trying to go, ooh, hang on. There's a lot we've held in for a long period of time. Let's be very gentle about how we come out of a psychological shock situation. So for those of you that when I talked about how hard it's been for some people over this last year, if you recognize that, I just want to give you a few kind of tips on how to come out of psychological shock in a way that's good for you and your health. And the main theme is be gentle and be kind to yourself, and don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic when we've held in lots of big, strong emotions of grief, of terror, of fear, of overwhelm, of panic, and we haven't had time to feel those, so we've pushed them down to survive. They need to come out. And rather than a big explosion, if you guys know that they're going to start to come out, sometimes in really annoying times, just be kind to yourself and let them come out. Feel it for a little bit. Cry when you need to cry. Hide under the duvet for a couple of hours when you need to. Look after yourself, look after your body, and then slowly all the parts of you, your emotions and your body, will all slowly come back to kind of the new normal, I guess, where you've processed some of this experience. Psychological shock, be kind to yourself.